What does it take to keep your team focused? What does it take to keep you focused? I own a business, and sometimes the weeks just go by, weeks, multiple weeks at a time, and it can feel like I'm just going from project to project or client to client or team meeting to team meeting. And I look back and I'm like, did we make any progress? Or I sit in a weekly meeting looking at the past week going, I didn't get any of my to-dos done. I didn't move the ball forward. And why? Because I lost sight of what we were trying to accomplish. That's where the one-page plan is a critical tool in your arsenal to accomplish your vision. That's what we're going to talk about today. And I'm calling it Staying Focused 8552. That's not August 5th, 1952. That is 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year, right? It's kind of like the business equivalent of 24/7, 365, but it's kind of out of fashion to say anything related to your business should be 24/7, 365, even though it might be for the owners, even though it might be for some of your highly achievement-oriented team members. But I just want 8 hours a day for me to be focused on the thing that we're accomplishing 5 days a week, 52 weeks, maybe not 52. I'd like a vacation, but you get the idea. So here's the tool that Axiom uses. There's lots of one-page plan templates out there. The first one of these that I read about was in a book by Verne Harnish called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. It's a great book. I learned a lot about strategic planning for small business out of that book. I should say I learned a lot about strategic planning for small business by trying to put the principles in that book into play with real life businesses. And it didn't go great because the one-page plan that's in that book is actually, it's only one page if you can find an 11-inch by 17-inch sheet of paper. It's like two pieces of paper put together, and it's massive. It has so much detail in it. It has so many metrics. And I actually tried it with clients, and it was complete overkill. And so I scaled back my expectations, and I said, well, the one-page plan can't do everything in your business, but it can perform a few critical functions. So this is our tool. You will see if you are looking at our portfolio of clients, you would see client tools like this. They would have their logo up top. They would have their brand colors, but you'd be able to recognize it. The boxes might be a little bit different sizes, but you would be able to say, oh, that looks like that thing that Joey showed me. So I'm going to break it down and show you there's a logic to it. And if you build your own, I think it's important that there be a logic to it as well. First and foremost, the most important things are in the top left-hand corner, your values. We could build, your one-page plan should change every year, and I'll get to that in a second. But every single one of your one-page plans, if we looked at them for the next 20 years, the top left box should be your values, your 3 or 4 values with their definitions. This is the standard for our culture. Now, I'm not saying that you might not revisit your values. We've had clients. I had a client that's been with us for 10 years, and in the last couple of years, they redid their values. They said, hey, it's time for some changes. We want to refine some of this stuff. And so it does look different, but for years and years and years, those things are the same. The next is your vision. Your vision is probably going to be very consistent from one year to the next. Now, we don't want the vision to be so far out there we'll never accomplish it unless you've set a 20 or 30-year vision and you're okay with that. But for a lot of businesses, it might be 5 or 10 years before this box changes, and that's a good thing. Then we get to the why. I place it underneath the values and the vision because it's what motivates those. Kind of the values and the vision kind of stand on this internal belief or conviction, and that's very important. That's probably not going to change. That might change even less frequently than the vision. And then finally, the mission. And we've already talked about it. And I use that 3-legged stool icon there because it just reminds us that mission, being on mission, is about staying true to our values, vision, and why. And there's a succinct statement that summarizes that. So we've been through all that. And then we get to strategy. Now, this part of the one-page plan is probably going to change every 2 to 3 years because our strategies go 2 to 3 years. And then finally, we get to goals. And this is the part that changes every year. We're going to have goals for some big financial numbers because if the business doesn't make money, the vision is in peril, The values never get a chance to be lived out because the business just isn't sustainable. So for all of our clients, we're setting revenue goals, we're setting gross profit goals, we're setting net income goals at a minimum. There might be some debt pay down goals. There might be some, I don't know, there might be some other financial goals that come off of the profit and loss statement or the balance sheet. But this is also where the WIG goes. The WIG is what we talked about in the last video. And so our WIG occupies a huge chunk of this piece. And we might go to some detail, like we talked about. If our strategy was sales and marketing as a discipline, we might say that our revenue goal is to get 7 clients at $150,000 in annual recurring revenue per client. And we believe that in order to do that, we're going to need to have 21 discovery meetings in order to close the 7 clients. And in order to get the 21 discovery meetings, we're going to have 105 prospect touches before that becomes reality. And so our WIG is to have 105 prospect touches, or roughly 2 a week for the entire 52 weeks of the year. And we're going to have a scorecard, which is not part of this, that tracks our progress toward that. That's a one-page plan. Our clients will have this printed out. We will print it out for them. Go to a nice printer. We'll print it on heavy bonded paper. We'll laminate it. And we'll make sure that every person on the leadership team has it. And if the client's down for it, we'll put one on every single desk, in every single truck, on every single dashboard, in the back of every single field trailer or construction trailer or plumbing van or whatever they have, because this is the key to making sure that not only you stay on track, but that your team knows what they're about 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks out of the year.